Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mel. I am a knitter and crafter living on the Orkney Islands off the north coast of Scotland. Today's video is going to be my autumn knitting plans video for 2025. It's a little later than I would normally put one out, and usually at the beginning of September when it's kind of middle. I think it's around about the 13th today. So it's a couple of weeks later than I would normally be recording this, but I'm just going to have to play catch up over the next 6 to 8 weeks with my autumn knitting. Although I guess if you class November as autumn knitting too, that gives me a little bit longer to finish things, because then I'll be kind of broaching into anything I want to knit for Christmas knits. But way before we get to that point is autumn knitting. I have a few various yarns beside me, and I will put up on the screen the patterns that I intend to knit with them, or crochet. There is crochet here and a little bit of cross stitch too, but I will put all the pictures of the designs on the screen, and I will put all the links to them down in the description box as well. So I do have quite a variety beside me. I have knitting of various projects. I have cowls, hats, a garment, and I also have spinning, and I have I have one spinning project and I have one cross stitch project. So we shall start with the knitting projects, and like I said, there is quite a variety here this time. There is also like vanilla socks I'll be knitting as well, but I haven't brought yarns for that because that is constantly and ongoing, and I don't know which yarns I'm just going to grab from stash as I fancy it, so those won't be included. But one pair of socks I will be knitting for myself is with one of my new purchases from the Scottish Yarn Festival that I went to a couple of weeks ago. So I intend to make myself some autumnal socks with this sock set that I bought from the Wool Chemist, and it is very, very pretty. It is lovely rusty autumn colours, and there is a green, foresty green mini skein with it. This is a 75% merino, 25% nylon base, so I will be knitting this on my 2mm instead of 2.25mm needle like I would with commercial stock yarns, and I will be doing reinforcing the bottom of the foot because my socks always wear out on the ball of the foot, so I like to put slip stitches, eye partridge slip stitch there to give them a little bit of extra thickness so they don't wear out as quick, because I'm very heavy footed and I get through my socks quickly if I use merino usually. So that is project number one, and I haven't put anything on the screen because it is just going to be a vanilla sock, keeping it nice and simple for in amongst my more complicated projects. Another of my more simple projects that I'm going to be doing to keep to be able to do kind of mindlessly, either whilst reading or what have you, is going to be a simple, straightforward cowl, again with some yarn that I bought at the Scottish Yarn Festival. This one is by Mothy and the Squid, which I think I held this tag upside down when I recorded my haul video, and it doesn't want to focus because I am on the screen too. But it is by Mothy and the Squid in the colourway Horse Chestnut, and this is a skein of iron weight yarn in, is it merino? Yes, 100% merino, and I intend to knit a very simple basic autumn cowl with this. I'm thinking something along the lines of a cowl that I knit in the past, way back, probably when I was first kind of doing knitting, like getting into knitting as opposed to crochet. I made myself a cowl with some of my own hand spun yarn. We're going to ignore the darned patches when the nargles, the moths, got into my laundry basket when this was in the wash basket for too long, that I had to darn quite a few years ago as well. But it is a very basic cowl that I just kind of made up as I went along. It's just bands of garter and stockinette, and because it is such, it slouches really nicely. This is a blue face Leicester, and it just drapes really nice. It sits in a nice place. It covers the cold patch on your chest if you've got a v-neck on. It covers your neck without feeling enclosed, which is what I prefer in a cowl. I'm not really one to wear like one up around my neck. In fact, I don't really like sweaters or anything that's too high on my neck. I find it uncomfortable. So this is perfect, and it doesn't, you know, dangle down and get in the way either. So this was just knitting the round, and I suspect I will do something very similar to this for this skein of yarn. I'm not sure how far it'll go. I'm pretty sure it will do a cowl comfortably. So that is kind of another mindless knit for in between more complicated projects. Speaking of more complicated projects, I do have one other cowl I'd like to make, and it is more of it is a pattern as opposed to just stockinette and garter. I knit a cowl with this hand spun yarn quite a way back now. This was from a braid of yarn I got from Creator by LCB. I think it's in the colourway, is it Cider? Autumn Cider? Something like that. I'll put the name on the screen otherwise. And I spun this up ages ago, and it's quite chunky. And I knit the twig cowl by Tiny Owl Knits, which is a very close to the neck, one big chunky braid of cabling through, and you're supposed to have it make double-sided, so you would have like the cable on the outside, and then you sew or knit, I can't remember now, like a fake fur lining, which I didn't do. I just did the outside, and I did it to the same sort of circumference as a cowl I would normally, but it ended up being really narrow, and it just hung there, and it didn't do anything, and I never wore it because it did serve no purpose. It hung, it didn't cover your neck, it was too big but too thin, and it just didn't work. So I ripped this out a few months ago and decided I would make another autumn cowl with this, something else entirely. So I'm thinking of making the West Desert Hood by Virginia Catherall, and it is like a honeycomb stitch cowl that I have made once before for my Nana before she passed away in shades of pink. So I'm thinking of using this hand spun yarn for the honeycombs, and for the outlines of the honeycombs is to use this other hand spun yarn that I made from a mystery blend that I got from was it from World of Wool? Yeah, World of Wool, many years ago. I think it's got linen in it, but other than that, it's got wool and it's got linen in it, and that's as much as I know. It was a complete mystery lucky dip batch of fibre, and it's quite nice. It's not prickly or anything like that, so I think these two together will look really, really nice. The coppery tone one will just work really. There's a lot of green on the outside of this ball, but the yarns inside have much more rusty appley tones, very similar to the sock set that I bought actually. So I think these two together will look really nice. It won't be like high contrast, but it will be enough that it'll look really nice. So that is my first kind of pattern project, and it is another accessory. I don't knit a lot of accessories, but funnily enough, I do have a few patterns this time. I think it's because I've been working so long on one big garment project, which is the big beige boucle sweater that I've been working on for months. That's driving me crazy to actually knit it. That garment knitting at the moment, I just kind of want that out of the way. Although I'm thinking of just finishing the second sleeve and then putting on hold till after the autumn and come back to it when it comes to like in the winter, because I just need a bit of a break from it. So that is my second cowl and my first pattern project for this autumn. Okay, the one garment I would like to work on this autumn is using 3 skeins of yarn that I bought. Actually, all I seem to do is buy yarn from the Scottish Yarn Festival. What can I say? So I have 3 skeins of this yarn, 2 skeins in one tone of copper and one in a light copper of this beautiful luxury yarn that I bought from the Scottish Yarn Festival about 3 years ago, I think. This is a lovely luxury blend by Iolay Yarns, and I'm just trying to separate out the tags here. Iolay Yarns, and the base is a 70% baby alpaca, 20% silk, 10% cashmere. So it is gorgeous, and their colours just have codes rather than colourway names. So this is just dye lot 0275 AE5A, so it doesn't really have a colourway name, but it is beautifully soft. It is gorgeous, and I've been meaning to knit a garment with this yarn for the past 3 years, and I keep bringing it up on my autumn knitting plans, but I can't bring myself to use it for the project I keep meaning to make. I spoke about maybe making a striped flax light, but I stayed away from that. And then I thought about making a steeked cardigan with it, but I just couldn't bring myself to knit a cardigan, steek it, and then find that I wasn't happy with it and I couldn't do anything with it because it had been steeked. And I didn't want to knit a cardigan in the flat because I hate purling, and purling and fingering weight yarn, it just sounds like it wouldn't be very fun. So I kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. Anyway, this year I thought I would try and make something different with it. I've decided I've found the perfect pattern for this. Instead of thinking about a cardigan, I had set in my head for the last year or so for it to be a cardigan, because I do have 2 rusty coloured autumn sweaters already. I have my arboreal sweater and I have my it's the one with a jack-o'-lantern on the front. I can't remember what it's called. I'll put the name on the screen. And I thought, oh well, I need a cardigan rather than another copper sweater. But I do have an orange cardigan. I just don't normally wear it. I have put it on today. This is my Ichabod cardigan, designed by Andy Satland, which unfortunately this is not available anymore. But I do hopefully plan to make another one of these. So I do have kind of well, this is orange rather than rust toned cardigan. So I thought I want to make something different with this. So I thought about what I would wear with this yarn with. So garments wise, at home, which is 95% of the time I am at home, I'm either in like sweatpants or leggings and a t-shirt or sweater, or in a dress and a cardigan. So a striped fancy sweater, I just can't see getting a lot of use. I would tend to wear something like that with skinny jeans to go shopping, but just it doesn't really happen that often. In fact, a lot of the times I actually wear a dress to go shopping now. So I wanted something that I could wear with a dress, but also could wear at home, because yes, it's a luxury yarn, but my other luxury yarn striped sweater hardly gets anywhere because I think it's too nice to wear at home. So I wanted something I didn't mind wearing at home with a dress, but could also get away with possibly with leggings. So I thought a fancy sweater, a kind of a more feminine sweater that would look nice with a dress, rather than a striped sweater which kind of has more of like a casual wear with capri pants or jeans type of feel. So I scoured Ravelry and I came up with a pattern. I know it's a long-winded description, but I have found a pattern. The pattern is called the Ton Pullover by let me just check the name. Yep, it is the Ton Pullover by Albina McLaughlin, who is a Irish knitwear designer, and it has the options of a kind of a cowl neck or a crew neck, and it has this beautiful wave lacework design over most of the, like 3/4 of the body and the sleeves. So my plan is to obviously use the darker yarn for the top half of the sweater, migrating into using both the yarns for the wave pattern, and then whatever I have left over, which will be the bottom band and the cuffs and such like. So because the sweater has more, and then you have the option of either having the waves quite tight together with thin bands between them, or more open. So I'll probably do the more open version of the stripes because I only have one skein of this, and I think 300 grams will be plenty. The pattern is actually knit in a sport weight yarn done at a 23 stitch gauge. So I think I will be doing slightly changing the gauge and doing a 24 stitch gauge fingering weight version and just account for that. And I should have enough yarn, because my other luxury yarn in the same base, I used around 300 grams for that, and that is a proper full-sized sweater with long sleeves, so I should have plenty of yarn. So that is my one garment that I've waffled on about for 5 minutes that I am knitting this autumn. Another garment that has been on my list for a couple of years, which is not probably going to get done this autumn, but I am doing the preparation work for, is the Chestnut cardigan by Marie Wallen. The Chestnut is a Fair Isle design colourwork cardigan, and I have got the contrast yarns for it. I have bought various Shetland yarns over the last 2 or 3 years. I have Jameson's Shetland Spindrift, and I have Uredale yarns, which are also a Shetland yarn. So I have my autumn kind of contrast tones, but I want some oatmeal coloured yarn for the background. So when I was at, again, the Scottish Yarn Festival, I bought 2 bats of Shetland fibre. This is still lovely and lanolin-y, and I'm going to spin this up this autumn in preparation for knitting that cardigan at some point. I'm not putting the pressure on to get the cardigan done, because I think it would be quite a long-term project, as it is an all-over colourwork garment, and it will be getting steeped. But I can get this spun up. It is 200 grams of fingering weight, and I think it probably have to be light fingering weight, so it is going to take some time, but I can kind of nibble at this over the next couple of months and at least get this yarn ready for the cardigan, for when I am ready to pick it up and start colourwork. This yarn came from Highland Wool. Yes, Highland Wool, I think it's Highland Wool, while I was there, and of course I will link everything down below, and it is gorgeous. I think one is slightly darker than the other, so what I will do is I will spin these and I will ply them against each other to kind of even out the tone. It is slightly more murret than oatmeal, but it's fine. It should still be plenty of contrast. I'm not looking for a high contrast cardigan anyway, so I think these two spun together. And when you spin, okay, if you don't, not a spinner, if you spin yarn, how do I explain this? The thinner the yarn you spin, the kind of more washed out it makes the yarn. So if you have this, for example, and you spin this chunky, it will look more like this than if you spin it fine. When you spin it fine, it will look lighter. I'm not actually 100% sure why that is the case, but it is the case. It seems to kind of wash out the colours a little bit. So if you have a bat, it's multicoloured, and you want it to be more bright and bold, spin it chunky. If you want it to be more blended and more kind of washed out, you spin it fine. So this will actually look a little lighter than this when it is spun up as well. Okay, another accessory that I would like to knit this year is a hat. I have a love-hate relationship with hats. Hats do not look good on me. It's because I have a fringe, or bangs if you're American, and you know, you wear your hat and it goes like that, or you have to like sweep it to the side, and then wear your hat. But as soon as you take your hat off, you've all your hair is all like flat, because obviously you've gotten warm, and it's just like using hair tongs or straightening irons, is it makes the hair stay where it was. So I don't particularly like wearing hats, but there is a place for hats in the winter or in the autumn months, especially around here when it's very windy. So I have a couple of options. I dyed this skein of yarn when I was still dyeing yarns. It is in the colourway Patina. I might have to move my camera slightly actually. The light is coming in from the side here, so it's casting shadows. There we go. So I have this yarn in shades of like coppers and greens and what have you. It's very variegated. So I'm thinking of making a hat, and I have a couple of ideas. I'm either going to make something very stockinette, so it shows up all the different tones of the yarns. And I'm thinking of a hat that I said I would probably never make, which is the Musselburgh hat by Isolde Teague, and it's quite popular, and I think that's why I had slightly an aversion to it. But the thing I do like about it is that it doesn't have a ribbed brim to it. It is knit. You start off with like a few stitches, you expand in stockinette, and then you just knit a tube, and then you decrease to the end, and then you turn one side inside the other. John, my husband, when he was a child, his dad would use the knitting machine, and he would make them all hats for school out of random corns of yarn, really fine yarn, and like knit like 2 or 3 of this lace weight yarn together on the knitting machine and make these hats that were basically a tube that went inside out. So I was thinking it would work quite well because the brim is not ribbed. It doesn't like pull to your head quite so much. It's a little looser. So possibly the Musselburgh hat. The other option is to knit something like a beret style hat. I do like a beret style hat. I like that I can wear it above my fringe, above my bangs. The only trouble is they tend to come off if it's windy. So I'm wondering if I can get hold of a hat pin. When I was a kid, my nana, my dad's mum, used to wear hats to go to town or to church or whatever, and used to have a hat pin, and you'd hold the pin. We're talking, this is a lot. This is back in the 80s. I don't think she did like towards the end, but like back in the 80s, hat with a hat pin. So I'm wondering if I could get hold of something like a hat pin and it would hold a beret on, or would that look ridiculous? I'm not sure, so I'm gonna have to look a little into that. So I'm thinking of using this for that, and I haven't got a label for this. I think it's merino. I'm pretty sure it feels like merino. So this is a sock yarn, merino nylon sock yarn, and that is my plan for this, to make myself a autumnal hat. One of the beret patterns I'm thinking of is yet another Isolde Teague pattern, which is the Verity, which is a pattern she made a long time ago, and it is a beret style, but it has kind of like a brim, which I think might help hold it on the head a little better, or it could slide off. I don't know, hats don't stay on my head very well. So yes, probably an Isolde Teague pattern, and either a stockinette Musselburgh or a stockinette style Verity beret hat. Okay, moving on to crochet. I made a rainbow ripple baby blanket by is it Celeste Young? Yeah, Celeste Young, a little bit back. I think that was about a year ago, and I decided that I enjoyed making it so much, and since the cat seemed to have snaffled it, and I think it might have dropped down the back of the sofa now, so I need to fetch that out, is I was going to make another rainbow ripple blanket, but this time in autumn tones. I got 2 cakes of this yarn. It is the Yarn Smith's Elvis double knit yarn, and this is in the colourway, oh, bear with me one moment. This is in the colourway Turbo, which is number 1A009, and it is gorgeous shades of obviously autumn toned yarn. It is a 100% acrylic, and it is 150 grams per cake, and there are 540 meters, 490 yards, and it says DK weight. Yes, DK weight yarn. I think this rainbow ripple blanket is actually a Aran weight pattern. Doesn't matter. I'm going to use this one anyway, and I will just keep making it until I run out of the yarns. It has fades. I think both cakes are very similar to each other. The last one that I knit wasn't in the Yarn Smiths, it was in another yarn, and both cakes were very different. These are very different from each other actually. The fades are in different places, but that's okay. I'm quite happy to work with that. So I will be crocheting this soon, but it is one that I tend to crochet is something that I tend to do whilst watching podcasts or something like that, because I have to watch my hands whilst I work. I can't sit looking at the telly and like this, like I would if I was knitting, or if I'm reading I can kind of knit without looking, but crochet I have to watch what I'm doing. So this is kind of my daytime project, my sit down with a cup of tea in the afternoon and watch a podcast project for these 2 cakes of yarn. I realised I missed a knit project. I plan to make a pair of colourwork Halloween socks for my husband. Last year I made a pair of the Scare Me socks for myself. It's a pattern by Lysandra Horden and I knitted in shades of purple and orange and black. For my husband I'm going to pick out different colourwork design. There are various colourwork charts for it, with things with ghosts and pumpkins and cats, black cats and things like that. I'm not sure which ones I'll be picking for husband yet. I'm pretty sure there's going to be ghosts. I think he requested ghosts. So I'll be knitting him some in shades of orange and black and white. I just need to get some more black yarn, but the orange will just be one of my leftover orange skeins. I know I have some Drops Fable in orange, and I have some opal orange, and I do have some cascade orange. So whichever kind of looks right with the white and the black, that will be the one I pick from. So I'm not sure which one it will be yet. But yes, that is the Scare Me socks, colourwork socks for my husband. And my final project is another one that isn't knitting, which is some embroidery. I think I called it cross stitch in my haul video, and it's not, it's embroidery. I have this Autumn Pumpkin blackwork embroidery kit that I got from Midporter Designs when I was in Perth. It is gorgeous. It is embroidery that's made up of wee little designs. Let me move this camera again. It is made up of wee designs with leaves and acorns and hedgehogs and all sorts of autumnal images. And this kit comes with all you need to make this. So it's got the pattern, and it's got, let me just fish things out of here. It's got fabric, and it's got the sewing needle, and we've got all the threads needed and everything. So I am planning to make this as well. Again, this is one that I will do daytime knitting because I have to watch what I'm doing. Obviously you can't mindlessly you can't sew, you can't embroider whilst not looking at your hands. I mean, maybe some people can, but I can't. So I will be working on this in the daytime as well. So that is all of my crafting, well, it's not all of my crafting plans, all of my relevant crafting plans for this autumn. All my fibre-based ones. Knitting, crochet, cross embroidery, and spinning. So I better get started with caking up some yarn. Fortunately, most of it is caked up. There is only 1, 2, 3 skeins I think I need to cake up. 1, 2, 3, yes? Yes, that thing makes things a little easier because that does take some time. So I am going to leave this video here for today, and I hope you're going to be doing lots of lovely autumnal crafts as well over the next few weeks. Pop down in the comments what you're planning on making, because I'm always on the lookout for new autumnal projects. I love autumn. I love autumn, and I love knitting and crafting in the autumn and over Christmas. So thank you for watching. I will see you very soon for a regular podcast episode. Bye bye.